Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Chukat. A person faces many challenges in life, but chief among them is the challenge to improve themselves. According to the Torah, self-improvement requires channeling one's instincts towards acting in accordance with intellectually sound behavior. This requires character improvement and philosophical study. The Torah has 613 different mitzvos to lead us on the proper path. There are many impediments hindering a person's self-improvement. In this Dvar Torah, I'll focus on two of them. In our Torah portion, we read about the mitzvah of paraduma, the red cow. This mitzvah challenges the student. How can the ashes of a dead red cow change the status of a person from tameh to tahar and allow them entrance into the Beit HaMikdash? The opening verses of our Torah portion read, "The Lord spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, this is the ritual law that the Lord has commanded. Instruct the Jewish people to bring you a red cow without blemish, in which there is no defect, on which no yoke has been laid." In his commentary to the opening psukim of this Sedra, Rashi explained that because Satan and the nations of the world taunt the Jewish people, saying, what is this command of the red cow and what is the reason for it? It's the mocking of the Satan and other nations that causes the language in the text of the pasuk to feature the term chukah about the mitzvah, a law, implying the mitzvah of the red cow is an enactment from God, and you have no right to mock it. I find Rashi's explanation of two sources of mocking, Satan and the other nations, interesting. In rabbinic literature, Satan, the Satan, is the yetzer hara, a person's instinctual drive. Rashi was teaching that there are two forces that try to divide the Jewish people and the mitzvot, an internal force, the Satan, and an external force, the other nations of the world. This is reminiscent of two prohibitions in the Torah. As the Rambam wrote, the verse, "Do not stray after your hearts and eyes," prohibits straying after foreign notions of God and the desires seen by the eyes. As the Rambam wrote, there are times when a person will stray after star worship. Times he will wonder about God's oneness. Perhaps he is one, perhaps God is not. He might also wonder, what exists above in the heavenly realms? What exists below them? What was before time? What will be after time? Similarly, one might wonder about prophecy. Perhaps it is true, perhaps it is not. And one may also wonder about the Torah. Perhaps it emanates from God, perhaps it does not. Since he may not know the guidelines with which to evaluate ideas that will lead him to the truth in its fullness, he may come to heresy. The Torah has warned about this matter, saying, "Do not stray after your heart and eyes, which have led you to immorality." Each one of you should not follow his limited powers of understanding and think that he has comprehended the truth. Just as prohibitions following one's heart and eyes refer to external and internal forces working to divide the Jew from the Torah mitzvot, so too the forces mocking the red cow are internal from the yetzer hara and external from the other nations. As Jews, we must learn to stand up against all forces working to stop Jews from observing the mitzvot of the Torah. What an important lesson. Shabbat Shalom.